योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Namaskar, myself Lieutenant Professor T. Onima Reddy, and I am very thankful to the entire team of HRDC Gujarat University for giving me this wonderful platform of this online refresher course in physical education from 6th of August 2021 to 19th of August 2021. I am very thankful to Professor Dr. Jagdish Joshi, who is Professor and Director of UGC HRDC Gujarat University, have given me this wonderful opportunity to speak on this particular platform. I must share that the first of its kind online refresher course in India in the year was held in 2018 and 19, and above 2,500 participants attended that course. Apart from that, the first ever online short-term course on e-content development during lockdown and unlock one more than 130 courses with about 5,000 participants have successfully completed across the country. I must congratulate the entire team and his performance that they have chosen this wonderful mode to plan the e-content development and taken this wonderful step to enhance the knowledge and wisdom of each and every individual those who are going to participate in this course. And I'm thankful to Dr. P.D. Mandora, who is coordinator of online refresher course in physical education, invited me to present my views in this regard. Friends, now I will talk on my main topic, that is sports psychology as a development perspective for athletic excellence. Yes, friends, this is high time to speak on this particular topic. Rather, we have given a very good performance, outstanding performance in this Tokyo Olympics 2020, and we have come up with several medals. And there is high need to be very highly professional attitude towards sports psychology to be needed to give good performance in competitive sport. So the sports psychology is relatively a new sport science that has only begun to emerge in recent years in India. Despite the accelerated growth of sports, we find that the field of sports psychology is still in its infancy. The research on sports psychology intervention has concluded that the use of psychological tools and techniques lead to heightened efficiency in one's performance. Of course, without the push of psychological approach or mindset preparation, we cannot go for good performance in competitive sports, whether it is individual, team games, or competitive sports. Now, who are sports psychologists and how they are doing their work is on. I'm going to speak. Sports psychologists are best known for helping athletes overcome mental roadblocks and improve their performance. How? For example, helping a baseball player snapping out of a hitting slump or supporting a runner as she regains confidence post injury. So, in main competition, a player wants to give their best performance at that time also, and rather, a athlete is getting his confidence back just after the injury. So, while that performance emphasis remains a cornerstone of sports psychology, it is only a slice of what sports psychologists are now doing to support athletes. So we must know the introduction. We must know that how in competitive sports a high achievement setting is important. How then we supposed to know that how in performance enhancement is possible. Then how the athletic excellence from a developmental perspective is important to understand from psychological point of view. And the next thing is conclusion, that future directions in sports psychology. Sports psychology is giving, psychologist is giving the guidelines to the athletes that after their physical body is not allowing to give them good performance in competition, then what to do about their career. So they can choose many other disciplines to run their life. So it is important to introduce the other perspectives after the main competitions when your body is not allowing you to give the same performance consistently. In that time also it's helping you out. The sports psychology is a discipline of psychology applied to a competitive sport as a specific context of organized physical or motor activity. So this is what the definition of sports psychology is telling you. It's competitive sports is focused on high achievement, of course, and it's focused on consistent excellence. In contrast to other settings in which exercise is used for physical education, leisure, or rehabilitation. So here the consistent excellence and high achievement is important in competitive sports, and it is through physical education, leisure, or rehabilitation in all major setbacks, in all major emphasis is being given through sports psychology, is on the study and on the applications of psychological factors in enhancing the athletic performance and on the impact of sports participation on a person's or team's development. So the individual development and rather the team development, both are being considered through psychological factors in sport psychology to give the high competition achievements and consistent excellence. Right. The major focus is the context of competitive high achievements in sports. From this perspective, sports psychology examines mainly the short and long term impact of psychological factors on athletic performance and on potential effects of systematic participation, involvement in sport. So, everybody will ask that what is short term and what is long term impact of psychological factors? Of course, I'm going to come on that particular point. Applied sports psychology attempts to solve specific practical problems by improving athletic performances, and thus it is helping athletes to develop their potential in sports setting. This selected aspect of applied sports psychology within the framework of three basic constructs. Okay, friends. So the what are the three basic constructs are athletic excellence first, second is one is performance related subject experiences, and the third one is individual resources in which the psychological strengths are considered. The key aspect of athletic performance are examined from the short term readiness for competition and performance excellence, right? So I was asking you and I was telling you about the short term and long term impact of psychological factors. So short term is readiness for competition. Means how ready an athlete is to give the good performance when there is a main competition, and about his performance excellence. Hmm? And the second one is long term. The long term is consistent excellence and career development perspectives. So the second one is long term is supposed to be taken care of very minutely because you're going to get the consistent excellence whether it is team sport or the individual sport. and the second one is career development. So only playing the sport for entertainment is not going to work, friends. For your life, you have to earn also. For that, the career development is also important, is directly related and associated with it. So now I'm going to come on the major focus and trends in sports psychology. So, what are the main trends in applied psychological work with athletes, teams, and coaches? This is the question in the mind of everybody. Noteworthy are two major focus in sports psychology research with two corresponding trends in applied work. The first is understanding the psychological factors that affect the athletic performance and how athletes realize their potential in sport, right? Applied aspects here include high quality practice, right? So high quality practice is there, optimal performance is there. Optimal performance is, for an example, if an athlete is running his time trial before the main competition, female athlete 100 meters 11.76 seconds. In the same main competitions is supposed to give the same optimal performance at least. It is expected. And adequate recovery at the level of an individual athlete and team. Recovery is also very important part of the any performance. To give the high level of performance, recovery is also very important part. The second important object of sport psychology is to understand how athletes develop in sport and what are the benefits and costs of their multi-year sports participate. So we're supposed to know that what benefits are associated with their participation so that they can feel very motivated for that, because the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation is important, and what costs they are going through for their training to give the good performance in main competition. So the applied aspect of these include here the need to help athletes to cope up successfully with career transitions and find a balance between sport and other spheres of life, right? So there's supposed to be a balance, always supposed to be there. So that the athlete should understand, yes, he have chosen the right discipline in his life, which is not making him to fall in danger. It is not only for recreation but for livelihood also, right? In team sports, this is also includes and involves dealing with team building issues and helping individuals, athletes find a balance between individual and team interests and values. So the psychologist is himself is introducing the values to the athletes. Without values, they cannot go for honest approach in competition, right? In any sport or in any profession, the values are most important ways to go with the honest approach and to have the confidence, whether they are any sporting activities. Then only the team interest will come up, the athlete will feel a balance, and they can go for a good, excellent performance. So, there is a question that how the sports psychologists are working. What are applied sports psychologists and who are the sports psychologists are? What do they do? And how and why they work with athletes, teams, and how they are working with the coaches. So, there is always a question. These questions are important for an understanding of what sports psychologists can and cannot do in the field of competitive sports. They should know their line of work. They should know the guidelines to work with the athletes, with the teams, and with the coaches. Then only they can give their best in teamwork. First is the sports psychologists as a professional group are experts with different backgrounds. right? They may be clinically oriented consultants. They may be educationally oriented consultants. They may be mental trainers. They may be applied researchers specializing in performance enhancement, or they may be social or personality psychologists. However, whatever their specialization, applied sports psychologists are usually required. Friends, I'm again emphasizing on this. Usually required to be well versed not only in psychology, friends, not only in psychology, but also in sport and sport sciences. They need to have the basic and the advanced knowledge in sport and the sport sciences. Without that, they cannot understand the problems, the competition situations, and conditions of the athletes, teams, and coaches. And they will not able to cooperate. They need to have the good sport and sport sciences knowledge. This helps them to establish and to develop working relationships with individual athletes, teams, coaches, parents, and managers, etc. They need to have a very good balance with the athletes, with the teams, with the coaches, with the parents, and with the managers. In competitive sport, applied psychologists deal with healthy, motivated, and high achievement oriented people, those who are striving for consistent excellence, performance up to their potential, and continuous self development. So, see how serious affair it is. How serious affair it is. Abhinav Indra told that it is not only 4 years hard work, it's day to day, every day they are working. So, it is a very, very honest, confident, healthy, and valued approach of athletes. Those who are feeling healthy, those who are feeling motivated to give their high achievement performance in a consistent way and up to their potential and continuous self development. These all things are so deep rooted in athletes or any team sporting athletes. Thus, the focus on enhancement of athletic performance and empowering approach reflect a positive, proactive, and constructive nature of applied sport psychology. Right, friends? This emphasis on positive psychology or psychology of human resources and strengths is not new, friends. It's been occurring from last 25 years. That's why in my next session definitely I'm going to talk about the issues and needs of sports psychology which is supporting my topic, and we're supposed to know the conditions also. However, there is still an urgent need to attend to current concerns of athletes and coaches and examine more closely their successful experiences by bridging the gap between group oriented and individualized approaches. So, why there is a need? Because an athlete is facing so many situations and problems and conditions during the main competition. So they required the immediate concern from any of the persons, those who are very near to him, like the team officials, like the coach. And the important thing is professionally psychologist is there. They need to have this immediate concern from these people. Therefore, it is argued that sports psychology is the psychology of personal and athletic excellence. Personal and athletic excellence. And as such, from the very beginning was oriented to identifying a person's resources, means his strength, to facilitate consistently successful performance up to the person's or individual's potential. We all know that everybody is working hard in their training sessions to give good performance, but up to the potential in main competition is expected. And apart from that, you are the champion if you are giving the better than yours potential in main competition. It is highly expected. It is highly professional to think about and to motivate the athletes for that. Right, friends? The second, it is well known that science of coaching focuses on the use of general principles. As with coaching, the practice of applied sports psychology is both a science and an art. Along with coaching, it is science and art. As a science, it is based on various theoretical models and results of empirical studies describing what is typical for athletes in particular sport situations. As an art, sports psychology is grounded in the personality as well as personal and professional experience of the consultants, and it is expressed in his or her ability to understand the particular athlete within a psychological context and to choose the most effective applied approach or intervention. So, the combination of art and science is important to know the particular sport situations. That is why different consultants may work differently with the same athletes yet be equally successful. So it's all teamwork. It's all teamwork. Arts and science aspects are sports psychologists' tools to help athletes and coaches who often focus mainly on the symptoms or consequences of psychological problems, dealing with real cause of the problems like challenges like the task demands. So the sports psychologist is helping to the athletes to cope up with psychological problems, and the athletes, those who are facing the high challenges, those who are in demand of good performance, facing problems to come up with. Third, there are certain organizational working models, assessment technologies, and interventions based on specific ethical norms that characterize how sports psychologists are working. For instance, work psychology research and effective delivery of psychological services to elite athletes and coaches usually focus on two closely related aspects. First is performance enhancement in practice and competitions, and the second one is optimization of interpersonal and intra-group communication, creating the optimal team climate and effective management. See, so the sports psychologists use several guidelines or principles to enhance their work, including action and growth orientation, and emphasis on developing individualized strengths rather than on repairs of deficiencies, empowering the athletes, coaches, and team rather than developing over dependency. So beautiful part of psychologists are. On outside expert, they are not supposed to take the over dependency on them, and enhancing active participation, partnership, and cooperation between the sports psychologists, athletes, and coaches. So in this particular slide, everybody has got clear that how important to know about the guidelines to work on. Okay, friends. In brief, with an athletes and coaches usually includes several action oriented steps. First is listening to the coach is very important. If you're not listening to the coach, it is not going to work. An athlete's account of the current situation and past performance history to identify their concerns that need to be addressed. So we need to listen to the coach. We need to have the record of the athlete's account, that how good he was in his past and what is his current situation of the performance. Everything supposed to be identified by the psychologists. The second one is providing a general summary of how similar situations are usually handled in sports and suggesting a tentative plan of joint work on the problems at hand, right? The third one is collecting the data is very important, to collect the data and providing a detailed feedback that opponent team is what they are doing, how was yours, performance in long jump, how you are doing in high jump, what was your last step, penultimate step supposed to be taken at what angle. These all things. Detailed feedback with the interpretation of results using context related language clear to the athletes and coaches. Everything. You need to be very clear to the athlete, very clear to the coach what you are speaking with. Preparing an action plan for further analysis like change and monitoring of the key parameters involved, evaluating the effectiveness of their initial steps, and developing an individualized intervention program with clear criteria to assess the athlete's progress on a daily, weekly, monthly, and seasonal basis. So so we can understand that how deep rooted the work of psychologists are. It is not only that you are giving mental training to them, but it is to go deep into their training plans also. Going to continue. Contacting by phone, e-phone or fax the athletes and coaches systematically, which is an important part of their work during the entire session, right? Where wrap up, lesson learned session is also a good way to summarize experience of all participants by the end of the season. It is also important to realize that this approach is different from the traditional role of an outside expert telling and client what to do or what not to do. So the sports psychologists, their main task is to empower athletes and to empower the coaches via an individualized approach focusing on their strengths, especially on the successful experience, not to always speak on their deficiencies and limitations. Speak positive, give them the healthy environment, give them the motivating environment to give the high level of excellent, to give the high level of excellent, consistent performance. Right, friends? So here I'm going to stop in the next of my thing. I'm going to talk on the next slides. So my lecture will continue in the next slides in the next session right now. Thank you so much. Once again, namaskar, and you all are most welcome again in this second session of this online refresher course in physical education. The topic, as we all know, is sports psychology as a developmental perspective for athletic performance. Yes, of course, we talked a lot on how it's going to help for the good performance or the better performance in athletics. Now, I'm going to speak on the issues and in sports psychology in India. It is a well researched and widely established fact that psychology is an integral part and component playing a vital role in enhancing the performance of an athlete in order to help them achieve their peak. Despite this, why is it that sports psychology in India is still in its nascent phases and facing a large number of drawbacks? Right, friends? So, one of the foremost reasons could be the negative connotation associated with the term psychology. Once the large segment of population is thinking about you that you have some psychological problem, the athlete himself is thinking that he is in a challenge and he is facing some mental health problems. The term psychology is itself hinting at issues related to mental health or psychopathology. Till date, many individuals, including athletes and athletic coaches, they all think that going to psychologist is having a problem, and that can prove to be a difficult perception to overcome. There is lack of awareness about the understanding of what sports psychology is and what exactly do sports psychologists are doing. So there is a term, everybody is in the confusion because we need to get the professionalism in sports psychology to introduce to the athletes, coaches, team officials, everybody. So despite the recognition that psychological aspects are important in an athlete's performance, many individuals, including athletes, they fail to recognize and accept its importance. We seek a lack of understanding and awareness towards the field of study. The next thing is another issue linked to the previous one is the importance of an athlete's image. Image management is key issue in India because they all are supposed to understand this in that way, but it's to maintain a problem free and healthy image of themselves. Every sports person is thinking of that, and this is linked with negative connotation of psychology proves to be a major setback for athletes to seek the guidance of sports psychologists. The lack of trained resource personnel and inadequate funding prove to be a major setback for the field of sports psychology in India. This is the main problem where everything is linked with. Nobody wants that a great amount supposed to go professionally to the field of sports psychology so that it could be practiced professionally on the teams, on the athletes, on individual events, and in team games. This has caused many sports psychology association to collapse, and the most part of the people working in the sports psychology sector in India do not have the essential and needed training simply because it does not exist. And the coverage of the field of study means to be very superficial with a lack of established academic course offerings. We also find misunderstandings and myths surround this field. This is another issue that even though sports psychology is now more accepted than before, it still carries a stigma in the eyes of many athletes and coaches and other individuals of society itself. Some of these myths, what they include, that sports psychology is only for the athletes who are mentally weak or ill. Sports psychology is quick fix. Sports psychology is only for the elite athlete, those who are very advanced. They are giving highly skilled athletes. And sports psychology is simply about positive thinking and hypnotizing the athletes. These myths are there in the mind of every individuals, those who are there in the sports. So what we have talked till now we talked about the issues. So why I'm talking about this is important because if we will not understand the issues, we will not understand the need and how the psychologists are working. Previously I talked, then we cannot develop the performance of the athletes. We need to understand how it is working, what is the mindset of the people. So next is need for sports psychology. Let's look at the following scenario, right? A highly talented and skilled athlete on whom rest hopes of thousands is physically well prepared and is dreaming of a gold. Okay. But just then at the start of the game, what it is, how his nerves, how his thoughts, what he is dreaming of, everything is there so that he could perform the best and he could focus better. Now it is solely the athlete's fault that he did not know or learn that how he's supposed to manage about emotional or psychological aspect in the game. If he will understand this through a sports psychologist, then only he can give a good performance. He need to understand the thought process. He need to understand the action regulation. He need to understand about his breathing control, about his emotional control. These all things matters a lot when you are actually into the field to, in the main competition to give a good performance. So similarly, when there is one example I have set in this, Ron Artis, a basketball player for the Los Angeles Lakers, he credited psychological health for his performance and success on the court. Quite a few took that as strange, right? However, it has been long recognized that psychological skills are critical and just as important for an athlete playing at any level. In India, too, athletes and coaches began to recognize the importance of mental training as an essential component in the international competitive sports arena. So it is widely accepted now, and people are thinking that yes, we're supposed to have a person of sports psychologist who can look after the emotional and psychological balance of the athletes. The gradual decline of performance in popular and mainstream Indian games like cricket and in hockey created a great amount of concern, and in a way has the acceptance of sports psychology as a channel to add athletes' performance. Now, what is the importance of sports psychology and how it may benefit the athletes? So, the importance of sports psychology is, and how it is benefiting in giving the best performance is, psychological training plays an integral part in the athlete's holistic training process when carried out in conjunction with other elements of training, right? So, while preparing for an athlete, simple psychological skills too can help athletes manage their competitive performance in an environment. And it's giving the skills includes the relaxation skills. For an example, progressive relaxation, slow controlled and deep abdominal breathing, and autogenic training. Autogenic training, we all know that each and every field may be included, in which we are giving the different kind of relaxation technique it is. And the second one is a mastery of all the different attentional styles or types of concentration. The third one is both kinesthetic and visual imagery. Fourth one is self talk. Self talk is so much important for everybody, not only for the athletes. We need to go for introspection when we are sleeping. Before sleeping, we're supposed to go for self talk. Today, whole day, what we did, what we supposed to do, how, in what ways we supposed to do something. These all is important to, to know yourself, to know your faults, or to know yourself better. Okay, the fifth one is development of pre-computation mental routines that they should follow prior to their competition on the game day, right? In addition to this field also deals with injured athletes who experience at least three different emotional responses commonly: frustration, isolation, and disturbance in mood. See, if an athlete is getting injured, so that athlete's his mental mindset, his mental situation is very different, the athlete is cannot attend his training session. He can be on the particular ground or field, but he cannot perform, so he is frustrating, he is isolating himself, and he is having disturbed in moods. So the technique employed in sports psychology, it is helping the injured athlete cope more effectively with these emotional responses and helping preparing the athlete to get back to their sports and games. And the following points emphasize the importance of this field. Okay, the first one is psychology plays a very unique yet critical role in the enhancement of an athlete's physiological capabilities like strength, flexibility, and speed. Because if you are motivated, if you are feeling healthy, if you are feeling energetic, obviously your physiological capabilities will increase. You will feel more strengthful, you will feel more flexible, you will feel that you can go for with good speed in 100 meters repetition runs. This enhancement in athletes is largely driven by motivation. It is widely accepted that psychological capabilities or power can increase an individual's physiological capacities. It's quite obvious, friends, that an athlete, they will feel that they are feeling better when they are psychologically stable. The second one is psychology is said to play a crucial role in the learning of motor skills. Okay, without psychological boost, nobody can perform good physiological, nobody can be in the good physiological condition. This depends on the athlete's level of readiness, that is their psychological and physiological readiness. Okay, because if you will be in good mood, if you will be in good emotions, definitely you will feel more energetic in psychological and physiological readiness to perform any task. Psychological readiness is closely related to the learner. Here, the athlete's state of mind, it is the desire and willingness to learn a particular skill. It's automatically coming to the mind of the athlete that he is more willing now, is more desiring to complete any particular task or skill. Sports psychology is also helpful in the social, active, autonomous, and cognitive stage of motor skill learning. They are ready to learn through their knowledge, through their practice, and the athletes are more capable of doing the training in a great mood. On the other hand, physiological readiness is the development of strength, endurance, and flexibility in the athlete, as well as the strengthening of various muscles and organ systems for better performance of motor skill required for their sport. So, when an athlete or a footballer they are going to perform any of the skill or they are going to perform any technique, they need to be more focused. When they are motivated, when they are emotionally balanced, when their mood is good, it is quite obvious that they will feel energetic, they will feel good in their action, and they will perform better. Third one is, an athlete's behavior while they are engaged in competitive sports can be better understood with the help of sports psychology. One can come to know the athlete's level of interest, attitudes, drives, instincts, and personality, right? Through the psychological aspect, we can understand what the attitude, what kind of interest, what kind of instinct, what kind of personality particular athlete is having. Sports psychology not only plays a role in understanding these behaviors in an athlete, but also helps in the medication of behavior in different sports situations too. So it is playing a great role in understanding these all aspects in different sports situations, in different sports conditions, to help the athletes, to give them a good environment so that they can perform at their best. The fourth one is, another important role that sports psychology plays is controlling the emotions of athletes, not only during competitions but during training as well. Some of the negative faced by athletes include like disgust, negative self-thinking, anger, and feeling of ownership, among many others. These negative can bring about spontaneous changes in their behaviors, which will not control in time. It can hamper and hinder their performance. So, sports psychology here is giving the scope to control its behavioral changes in scheduled time. Sports psychology is playing a decisive role at such junctures. It helps in maintaining a balance in the arousal of emotions, which can further improve the performance. Sports psychology is helping preparing athletes psychologically for competitions, and it's also giving psychological tips to athletes before and after their competition. The psychologists here are playing very important role in giving the pep talk to the athletes at their main competition time. They're helping them to deal with as their anxiety levels and create a will to win in athletes. The sixth one is, other than common problems like stress, anxiety, and tension that athletes facing, there are some other emotional problems that they are subjected to, like frustration, depression, panic attacks, and anorexia. The knowledge of sports psychology can prove to be helpful in such situations. Various techniques can be taught to the athletes faced with these problems, like techniques of concentration and relaxation. So, what sports psychologists are doing, there is a question always in the mind. I talked regarding this before also, I'm talking right now also, because it's important to know your duties when you are in this field. With the rapid development of the specialized field of sports psychology in recent years, the importance of sports psychologists as an integral member of a healthcare team and coaching has been widely recognized. Okay, so the psychologists, they are teaching the skills and techniques to athletes, that is enhancing their motor skills and learning processes. They are introducing them with all the kind of relaxation techniques, self talk, this all process help them to cope better with competitive pressure and anxiety, and they are fine tuning the level of awareness that they need for optimal performance and to not lose focus amidst distractions and on a competition environment. So they are giving this all environment to the athlete to give their best in the main competition situation. The field of sports psychology is further subdivided into three broad categories. We need to know this. That is, first one is experimental sports psychology, second one is clinical sports psychology, the next one is educational sports psychology. Each of these categories is reflecting different objectives and activities, and each of these categories are further subdivided into different branches. So the sports psychologist, they are the key persons to give the best environment to the athletes so that they can give their optimal performance at least in the main competition situation, and they are creating good environment for them. The next one is what will be the future trend of sports psychology in India. Okay, so currently in India, the second most populous nation in the world, does not have the fundamental and required infrastructure to serve its athletes to enhance their psychological skills. However, we do see several professional as well as amateur sport teams take interest in utilizing the services of sports psychologists and scientists to help athletes achieving the optimal performance. Skills their skills are need to conduct more research in order to understand the psychology of sports better in the Indian context, to determine whether these research findings hold true with the ones obtained in other countries. So what is happening here, that we having all the scope but we are not applying it professionally. We need to apply it professionally. Obviously it's being taken care at the national level or international level, but what about the grassroots level? Grassroots level also we need to be very professional to apply sports psychology or sports psychologist in grassroots level training also, because the coaches plays very important role. Obviously without them we cannot perform better, but we need to have the team so that the responsibility could be shared with others also. Lastly, if sports psychology is to reach greater heights in India, the top priority must be given to establish programs and courses in educational institutes, which is very important part, and which would lead to the birth of first generation Indian professionals, especially trained in the field of sports psychology. So the conclusion I'm coming on, conclusively one can say that sports psychology plays a key role in enhancing the performances in athletes while dealing with different mental qualities like confidence, like commitment, emotional control, concentration, which are linked to success in sports. Without these, our athlete cannot go for a very good performance in sports situation. If we wants to get very good performance from the athlete, we supposed to give them good environment through them these aspects. It is helping the athlete to stay focused and continue to sustain their best performance. And the very important part of sports psychology is that once the athlete is not in his physical capabilities to give good performance, that athlete what's we supposed to go for? They're supposed to be trained by these psychologists to take the other discipline of sports as his profession so that they can earn their livelihood. This is very important part is being played by sports psychologists for their future career prospects also, right? So we as sports persons, we as physical educationists, we all supposed to understand the key role in enhancing the performance of sports psychology, and we need to take it professionally to develop in at grassroots level and at national level, international level, at every level we supposed to introduce this with professional uh, preparation so that we can get good performance through the athletes at any competitive situation. Right, friends? So, my message is stay positive, stay active, be smart, and be safe. And here the pictures of all the athletes I have taken. See the smile in their face, the confidence, the commitment, how they committed are, how beautifully they have performed in this Tokyo Olympics. Mary Kom, PV Sindhu, Mirabai Chanu, they all have performed, and the other athletes, they all have performed before in the Olympics also. They earned medals also for us. And the showing the picture of these athletes is my message is that all we supposed to be happy. We supposed to think the better future of Indian context in world athletics, in Olympics, that yes, we can go better and better than now. We need to understand each and every field is important, and we need to understand and apply it professionally. Once again, I'm very thankful to the entire team of University Grants Commission Human Resource Development Center of Gujarat University for giving me this wonderful opportunity to connect with all of you and delivering my sessions. Once again, I'm thanking Professor Dr. Jagdish Joshi, Professor and Director of UGC HRDC, Gujarat University, who have given me this wonderful platform. And I'm appreciating the teamwork and their performance, that they have done a wonderful work through this online refresher course in physical education, which is running from 6th of August till 19th of August 2021. And before that also, so many online courses they have organized, and I have came to know that more than 5,000 participants in one online courses in different 130 courses they introduced, and being they all taken this advantage to connect in one platform. Must give a huge round of applause to each and everybody, and and the teamwork that they all have done so wonderful work on this online course. And especially I'm thankful to one of a very important person, Dr. P. D. Mandora, who is the coordinator of online refresher course in physical education, have given me this wonderful opportunity to speak on. Thank you so much, each and everybody, for joining this particular course, and we'll meet again. Thank you and good luck.